Hey everybody, T-Man again, bringing you guys another video, and once again, my countdown to WrestleMania 32 continues with the 31 straight day video countdown of the best WrestleManias of all time from me, the T-Man, the expert of professional wrestling himself, the man who watched all 31 WrestleManias, seen the build-up of all 31 WrestleManias thus far, going into 32, giving the countdown with number 24. And here, as I've been doing this countdown, I've been torn, I've been ripped apart, guys, with putting these WrestleManias in order. Right when I think I got the perfect order, then I remember something that happened, then I moved the thing up, and then I have to remember where to put the other one. But number 24, no doubt about this, is WrestleMania 7, as you see in the thumbnail there. WrestleMania 7 is ranked, and I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm going to tell you the truth. I was torn here when I have my countdown. I was torn. I didn't know whether or not to put WrestleMania 10, 24, 30, 31, all those WrestleManias are like floating in the middle, and trying to find the perfect spot is a lot harder than you think. Someone who's a fan of all those WrestleManias. So let's dive right into the WrestleMania 7 card. But before you do, if you missed any of the countdown, shame on you. Go back, watch those videos. But just to let you know, let's go on the countdown. On the first video, number 31 on the countdown was WrestleMania 11. Number 30 on the countdown was 16. Number 29 on the countdown was WrestleMania 22. Number 28 on the countdown was WrestleMania 9. Number 27 on the countdown was WrestleMania 2. Number 26 on the countdown was WrestleMania 8. Number 25 on the countdown, WrestleMania 23. And now number 24 on the countdown is WrestleMania 7. So, okay, let's dive right into it, guys. This is just a real, this is probably one of the most matches, other than maybe WrestleMania 4, where you get the most matches on this card. You get 14 matches on this card, so let's dive right into it. We got the Rockers opening up the card against Haku and the Barbarian. Picking up the win is the Rockers. Dino Bravo versus the Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich, with the Texas Tornado picking up the win. The British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, versus the Warlord. And let me tell you something, this is a rivalry I really remember back in 1991 in WWF. The British Bulldog and the Warlord, they used to do those test of power, the test of power strength a lot. And I remember those two rivaling throughout that whole year of 91 pretty much. But the Bulldog picking up the win there. The Bret the Hitman Hart, the Hart Foundation, and Jim the Anvil Neidhart defending the tag team titles against the Nasty Boys, seeing the new tag team champions, the Nasty Boys, pick up the win and the tag team titles. Jake the Snake Roberts in another match I remember as a kid, taking on Rick the Model Martel in a blindfold match, because the storyline was that Rick the Model Martel blinded Jake the Snake Roberts with some arrogance, he called it. The perfume blinded him in the eye, so they both put potato sacks on their head, and it was a blindfold match. Good idea, but turned out to be really, really bad. The Undertaker making his WrestleMania debut on the first victim, which would eventually become known as the Streak, and his first victim was Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Moving on from there, we got these two Asian guys. I forgot their name. I thought they were the Orient Express. Having an upset against legendary tag team Demolition. Mr. Perfect, Hall of Famer, taking on this year, about to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, the Big Boss Man. The Big Boss Man and Mr. Perfect for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 7, which ended in a disqualification countout, something like that. But Mr. Perfect retains the Intercontinental title. And then those of you who want to see a very funny promo from the Big Boss Man, check out WrestleMania 7. Check out the promo right before the match of the Big Boss Man and Mr. Perfect. Big Boss Man talking about his mama, and he stumbles his words a lot like me. Make a lot of blunders when he talks. Calling Mr. Perfect Mr. Perfects and talking about his mama too much. It was a really, really, really funny promo. I've always enjoyed the Boss Man's promo. The 10th match on the card, the Earthquake taking on the Hammer. Greg the Hammer Valentine. Earthquake picking up the win there. The Legion of Doom taking on the Power and Glory. Power and Glory. Oh, wait. I missed a match here. Here we go. And of course, one of the highlights of the match, Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh yeah, dig it, yeah. Taking on the Ultimate Warrior. This was one of the biggest matches here at WrestleMania 7, and really of WrestleMania history, if you think about it. This was a great match. I mean, Macho Man, obviously a great in-ring technician. Ultimate Warrior, not so much. And Warrior probably in his days only had maybe a handful of matches, like great matches. And I could name the opponent. Like Rick Rude was one of them that he had consistently had good matches because Rick Rude did a really good job working with Warrior. Hulk Hogan, they caught lightning in the bottle at WrestleMania 6. Both guys not really known for their in-ring skills, but they pulled it off and they pulled out one of the best matches of that card and of that WrestleMania. It was really shocking. And then the Macho Man Randy Savage was another guy who had that chemistry with the Ultimate Warrior, and they pulled off one. This was probably the match of the night. Macho King being the heel, Ultimate Warrior being the babyface, and this was a career versus career match. The loser was supposed to leave WWE, and you saw the Ultimate Warrior pick up the win, and Macho Man really kind of going into hiatus. But the big thing about it was the reunion of him and Miss Elizabeth was something all the fans wanted to see, and it was a touching moment at that time. Now knowing that all those people, Miss Elizabeth, Macho Man, and Warrior, are all deceased, pretty sad to see, but they were, no doubt about it, stole the show that night. Like I said, LOD picking up the win over Power and Glory. The $1 Million Man in another emotional storyline, taking on his ex-bodyguard, Virgil. This was a really good storyline. If you guys remember the breakup between $1 Million Man and Virgil, you just wanted to see this poor son of a bitch, Virgil, who was just humiliated by the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, get his. I thought they handled this match good. You guys really need, I wouldn't recommend you guys going back and watching the whole WrestleMania 7 card, but I would go back and I would watch the $1 Million Man Virgil, I would watch the Macho Man Randy Savage Ultimate Warrior, and of course the main event, Hogan and Slaughter, which I'm going to get into, but Virgil wins by countout. Tito Santana taking on the Mountie picking up the win, and finally in the main event, Hulk Hogan, the Immortal One, taking on the WWF Champion at the time, Sergeant Slaughter. And everyone knows the storyline there. Sergeant Slaughter was the Iraqi sympathizer, and coming out with Iron Sheik, Colonel Mustafa, General Agnog, that type of thing. Going on against Red, White, and Blue Hulk Hogan picking up the win there, and Hogan becomes a bloody mess. So it was a good win. Mediocre card, but what really saved this card and put this high in the ranking was people that remember the Hogan Slaughter. This was in the time of the Gulf War. This was a really personal time for the WWF and for the United States of America, and they made this really personal, and what made this thing personal was Sergeant Slaughter. The reason why I rank it really is people don't realize Sergeant Slaughter was G.I. Joe. He was Americana too, and turning his back on America in a time in real life where America was at war in the Gulf War in '91. This was a really, really shocking time. This was actually supposed to be in the LA Coliseum, and 100,000. This was supposed to be the first 100,000 stadium for WrestleMania. But due to death threats and security, they couldn't keep security at an event of this magnitude. They moved it in a much smaller arena that ended up being 12,000, 13,000 people. So there you have it. There, that concludes number 24 on the countdown. Stay tuned for number 25. If you don't for number 23 in the countdown tomorrow, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of my countdown. Take care, guys.